This is Irini Alexia of Frequency Drift, and you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour, your source for all hard rock, heavy metal, new metal, alternative, punk, horror punk, hardcore, rock, and all local bands, with your host, John the Bod, aka the Bodfather.
Hey everybody, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I'm your host, John the Bod, aka the Bodfather. And as always, I'm bringing you guys awesome interviews. Today, it is an honor and privilege to have Irini Alexia. She is the new vocalist of the cinematic progressive rock group Frequency Drift. They have a new album called Letters to Maro that's out today, Friday the 13th. Hell yeah. Jason's going to get you all. But anyway, it's out on via Gentle Art of Music. And we're going to be talking to her about this. Irini, let's jump right into this. What's impressed you the most about making the new album, Letters to Maro? What's caught your eye about it, if anything?
I think the most interesting part was getting immersed into a world that I didn't know very much about, which was sort of the theme that Andreas and Narissa, the masterminds of the band, they thought out this theme of Japanese urban life, but mixed in with sort of Japanese ghost and horror culture. I knew very little about this stuff. So for me, the most interesting part was getting submerged almost in all of these ideas and finding themes to write lyrics about. It was good fun.
I'll tell you this right now, folks, talking about horror-related stuff. Horror-related, as far as Japanese, is 1,000 times better than American horror stuff. It's a lot better. So, kudos for you guys doing stuff like that. Now, do you like doing lyrically? Do you like this or no?
Yeah, it's an unusual question because when I approach lyrics, sometimes you write about things that are nice and you write about nice experiences, and sometimes you write about things that aren't so nice. I mean, I guess nobody likes to feel uneasy feelings, but they are there. So writing them into songs, I think, is a necessity. And in that sense, I would say, yes, I like it.
What have you brought to this band that was possibly missing as you came in as the new vocalist?
I think because I come from musically quite a different background. I have a classical background, sort of operatic background, music theater background, and then I also spend quite a lot of time writing singer-songwriter, indie folk type stuff. The thing that I brought, or that the band was actually looking for, was for someone to tell stories. So not just to sing songs, as it were, but to try to convey things. And it's for other people to judge whether I am able to do this well or not, but this is definitely an aspect that I try to bring to the band.
Now, this was a concept album, correct or no?
Mm-hmm, that's right.
As far as concept albums, do you like the concept albums, or would you just rather just do a regular musical album compared to a concept album? Do you like this style?
Yeah, I like concept albums because they give you a direction. It kind of depends on the writing process. When I'm sitting around on the couch and I write a song on the guitar and there's a couple of those, and then at the end they make a collection, that would be a regular album. But when you work together on something as a band, it's nice when you have a sort of clear view of where this thing is going and what it is, and it opens up new ideas. Like I said, I had very little contact with Japanese horror culture, so I got to learn about that, and that's not something I would have done otherwise. So that's an awesome aspect of concept album work.
That was going to be my next question. Was this actually pretty hard to follow with the concept album for what you guys want to do? Because I know concept albums, they tell a story and everything like that. It's like writing a book pretty much, but only with music and lyrics. Did it come easy or no?
Well, depending on what easy is, you can probably make it easy on yourself or make it hard. The difference between writing a book and writing a concept album is a book has to have much more coherence in the story, whereas in an album, I feel you can have different relating themes that pop up again and again in different mixes in the different songs. You can kind of shuffle them around and see how that changes the story, and is just kind of playing with ideas, juggling ideas around, and then seeing what you want to go with and what sticks. So yeah, I guess, I think I really like this way of working.
Who produced this album?
In the sense of who did the production was mainly Andreas and Larissa themselves, and then we got other studios to do the mastering process.
So how was working with the guys as far as like production wise and producers versus just being musicians and they have the producer hat on versus that way?
I liked it because they obviously they wrote the songs. They had a vision for the songs. Then I added the lyrics, which added sort of the story to the songs. And then when we recorded it, they got to have input on the dramaturgy of it, sort of thinking how it should be sung, thinking how it should be done. And I guess it streamlined the process a little bit. I don't know what it's like for them, so you'd have to ask them whether it's a good or a difficult thing to be both the composer and the producer. But for me, I found the process quite enjoyable.
Are there any songs off the Letters to Maro album that stand out more to you than any on it as of right now? I mean, I know it's like picking your favorite animal or collectible or child, but is there any that stick out to you possibly?
My personal favorite, I think, although you said it quite right, it's like having a bunch of children and saying this one's my favorite. You kind of don't do that. But if I had to pick one, it would be Who's Master, which was the last track we've written and the last track we've recorded. And I like it because it has a really nice story arch, I think. And also because I just got to go wild on it. I got to go sort of emotionally all out. It was tremendous fun.
How much growth musically have you possibly seen this band go through since your arrival into it to now? Or has it just been more of a personal growth for all of you guys as of right now?
I think when the setup of a band changes or the members, there's probably always going to be a process where you have to get used to each other and you have to grow together as a band. And I think we've come quite a long way with that. And the next step will be playing the live shows and getting a live act together in which we act as a band, which is not something we've done very much in the past when we've concentrated more on producing the album and getting everything ready. So there has been growth. There will hopefully be more growth. And especially also personally, I have to say, I think this has been a big step in my musical journey, as it were.
Now, you mentioned that this has been awesome for you to do. With this band, though, has it gave you a freedom to be the musician that you've wanted to be and to write stuff that you've wanted to write, possibly?
Yes, that's a resounding yes, because one thing that I'm really grateful for is the freedom that Andreas and Larissa and the rest of the band have given me, and also so much positive feedback. I don't know whether this is a personal thing or whether this is probably something that affects a lot of singers, but I guess they can be quite fragile flowers and need a little bit of patting on the back sometimes that they're doing okay and what they're doing is all right. And when you get that, when you feel like, okay, you don't have to worry about what you're doing, your band is behind you, they like what you do, you get to be freer and you get to be more daring and you get to try and you get to really start to experiment with what you can do on stage, with your voice, with the stories. And this is something that I'm very grateful for, that their approval and their sort of blanket, you're doing all right, do your thing, has really given me the freedom to spread my wings a little bit more.
Do you do anything differently to help you keep your mind open and fresh during the writing and recording process to not let the music get stale? Because I know sometimes it does. Do you do anything differently to help you?
Sometimes I just had to stop doing it for a couple of days or switch to a different song and not think about a song that I'm kind of stuck on. And there is something that is called filling the well, where you fill your well of inspiration with things that you watch or listen to, with other things, like you watch movies or you listen to other music or you just do something completely different to take your mind off things. And then when you come back to it, there are fresh ideas there and there are new ways in which you can take things. So that's something I did.
What can fans expect at a show from Frequency Drift who have not got to see you guys live as of yet?
We have prepared some performance art elements because since as a progressive rock band, there are long instrumental passages, which are beautiful, but at the same time, that's when someone like a singer, like me, just stands about on stage, and there's only so much immersing yourself as a singer that you can do without then getting boring to the audience. So we've started adding some elements here and there to make it visually more interesting and attractive. And yeah, we're still in the process of building that up. We've got our first show tomorrow presenting the new album, and we'll see how that goes.
We're living in the digital era of recording albums and plus social media. Do you like this that we're in right now, to get albums out quicker, and plus social media to help bands reach out to more fans quicker and draw a bigger fan base?
The simple answer is yes, because you can reach a lot more people than you would have done otherwise. But I also think that it makes for a different kind of listening. You are much more likely to just dip into a song in the middle of it and then after 10 seconds decide that maybe it's not for you. Whereas maybe back in the day when you would go into a record store and you pick a couple of albums because you kind of like the look of the cover, and then you go to the station, put on the headphones and really give it a real listen. And also then when you decided to buy something, you take the time to put it on, and then it would run through as one thing. It was just a different type of experience. And I think the kind of music we make is probably not something that you can just quickly dip in and out of and get it. You know what I mean? Uh-huh. So it's got its upsides, it's got its downsides. On the whole, we're just going with whatever is happening at the time and making the most of it.
What does Frequency Drift bring to the table for music that's not out there as of right now, if anything, possibly?
I think one of the standalone features or kind of unique features is the instrumentalization. So having a harp there as not just a little, let's sprinkle a harp in here, but it's an integral part of the band, and also exploring different sounds of the harp. So if you look at some of the older albums, some of the sounds where rock fans might think this is an electric guitar, it's actually an electric harp that's being distorted, and kind of pushing the boundaries of what sounds you can achieve with that. So I think that is definitely one of the interesting parts. And also things like the wave drum. Our drummer is using a drum that is an electric drum, but wherever you hit it, it makes different sounds, and there's just different sort of ways of exploring new sounds, if that makes sense, in a subtle way.
Support-wise, have you seen a country since joining a band or a location that stands out more to you or surprises you guys that you actually get support from that location?
There are a couple of European countries that where I've had letters and emails that have been very supportive, like the Netherlands, for example, the UK and France. But what surprised me was a sort of burst of interest in Brazil, which I didn't see coming, but, exciting. That's awesome.
What made you want to become a musician? What was that spark for you that said, yeah, that's what I want to do right there?
I don't think that is something that I ever consciously decided. I think that was always just the way it was. I grew up in a musical household. My father is a professional musician, so even as a child, I just had a concept of this is what some people do for a living. This is what we do for a living around here. So there was always that kind of, this is just part of who I am. I mean, there's other parts, obviously. People are much more than just one thing, and most people are more than just musicians. But this is always something that was part of me, if that makes sense.
So is there anything that you like to collect that's not, that would surprise anybody possibly that's a fan of yours?
I'm not a big collector, I've actually just gone through a process of throwing out all sorts of things that don't serve me anymore, and I'm trying to keep things as non-cluttered as possible. So I guess I don't really have a big collection of anything.
Folks, this album is out today. You want to go out and pick it up. Pretty good album from this band. Really, really great lyrically, writing and everything. So, Irini, how can folks stay in touch with you guys, buy some merchandise, buy this new album, tour dates? How can they do that?
Easiest way is Facebook. Find us there, Frequency Drift. But we also have a website, of course, frequencydrift.com, and a Bandcamp. Any of these ways will work really well, and we really look forward to being in touch.
Before I let you go, would you care to do a promo for my show?
Yeah, of course. This is Irini Alexia of Frequency Drift, and you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Everybody stick around. We got some great music coming up, and you only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour and BODS Mayhem Radio Network. Thank you so much.